Alright boys, so SIG sent us a new p365 AXG Legion. Not used one of these before, so this is all new. Just going to get it out of the box, set it up for the range this afternoon, and just give you an initial feedback and thoughts on it. Comes with 3 magazines. Nice grip angle, we've got the G10 on there. I think the frame's made of alloy. I think they've gone for alloy on this one. Comes with a set of night sights on the front. Small plate there, retainer plate, I'll take that off shortly. Stick an optic on it. Feels nice in the hand, doesn't feel too small. Comes with a 17 round magazine, which is always useful. I'm a big fan of double stack magazines for everyday carry. I think if you're ever getting something like this out, it's an emergency. More is always good. It's got a nice weight to it. Heavy's good, heavy is reliable. Doesn't feel too small in the hand. It's on limits, but it's fairly comfortable. Don't see a problem with it getting to any of the fire controls. Maybe if you had bigger hands or gloves on, that might be an issue, but feels good to me so far. Trigger. Comes already comped. I think you can swap the barrel out and put a slightly longer barrel in if you need to. It's got the attachments if you want to put a torch on. Comes with a mag well already fitted, which I like. 3 magazines inside the box, 17 rounds per. Moving on then, Foxtrot 2. Not really used too many of SIG's lights in the past, if I'm honest. It's always been a Surefire X300 or TLR 7. They're good for compact guns. I like the look of this one though. Nice and small. I've already fitted the battery to it. Goes in through the end cap as normal. Nice and bright. A few different mounting options there. I've had a play with this one already, so I think I'm configured the right way. I never really know until it falls off on the range. Super embarrassing, but I think we got that dialed in. Next edition then, so it's the Romeo X. It's the compact version. There comes 2 variants. I think there's a compact one for smaller slides and then a full size one. The optic itself, it's an open emitter. Not ideal for me personally, but again, I think for this type of weapon system, it should be all right. Comes with inbuilt rear night sights, which is useful. Marries up with a front sight. I think additionally what I'll do is I'll take these second set of irons that are already on the rear sight, slide them off. Don't need a second set. And just place that on top, and I think we should be good to go.
Could you show off that optic for me?
Yeah, sure. I've got a bit more to talk about on this as well. So the buttons are super small, which for me is a problem, but I'm sure I'll work it around. To turn it on is the up button. Once you get it on, the dot is at a 2 MOA. Press and hold. Just got a circle. That's a 6 MOA circle, so it's quite big. And then if you press it again, I've got a circle and a dot, so all the options. And then for me personally, I just like a single dot. So back to that single dot. But yeah, looks like a decent little optic. It's a, it's got, I think it's a 1625, which is a slightly unusual battery. I think some of the Hollisons run on that as well. But just be mindful that it's not a standard 1632 or whatever it is that you're used to using. Inside, there's a couple of different options for screws depending on how you're mounting it. I figured it out earlier that you want the skinny long screws. They're the right ones. They seem to be purpose built. Screws have always been the bane of my life. Making sure you've got the right ones, making sure the plate, if you're using a backer plate or an MOS plate, making sure that they're the right screws. Screws on top of screws, plates on tops of guns. So many points of failure there. So nice and clean. Screws straight into the gun. Happy days. There's a few more other bits and pieces here. Some other screws. A couple of wrench keys there. Everything you need is inside the box. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is remove this plate. Gun's clear and safe. My experience, I've always used a 17, Glock 17. I used a SIG 226 on my first deployment in North Africa. That was a sort of low profile deployment, if you will. Yeah, I think the benefits of red dots are widely accepted now. It's quicker to acquire. It's good at range. Works at night. There's a lot of positives for it. Some guys still struggle to acquire it, but Once they've transitioned over from irons, I think it becomes second nature pretty quickly. But obviously the limiting factor to that is it needs a battery and it needs constant maintenance, and you need to know the state of that. So if it's a gun that you're carrying every day, you can't be lazy with it. You still got to make sure that you're still maintaining those batteries, making sure that you're releasing the springs on the magazines, making sure that those magazines aren't being kept in a place that's allowing, you know, encouraging stoppages in the future. Make sure that you debomb them, make sure you clean the springs out, all that sort of stuff, especially for everyday carry guns, because the chances of us using them or shooting the rounds off is so small. We have a tendency to just build it and leave it and forget about it, and then 6 months later, when you really need it at the end of your deployment, you've had your rounds bouncing around in a fanny pack or a backpack. Exactly that, mate. And I think I've seen it a lot, and I've been guilty of it in the past in my career. It's just making sure that whatever equipment it is, it doesn't matter if it's a firearm, night vision, radios, cell phones, med kits, whatever it is just making sure that you're on top of it. You understand how to use it, you're current with it, and it's serviceable. So making sure that you get in there and check it out, whether that's clearing the springs out, cleaning the gun, changing the batteries, whatever it is. I always like to do it as often as I can. Like for me, I'll never trust a battery life. I'll never trust a manufacturer telling me that it will last for X amount of hours on this brightness setting. To me, I've never ever found that to be true. Again, this looks like a tidy little optic. I quite like it. Whether I'd fit it to mine is another question, but for today, let's get it on and see what it performs like on the range. Again, you can see that it comes with its own integral backup sights. So now I've got 2 sets of iron sights on there, so obviously that's not the gold standard. I'd remove those, but for today I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave them on, but that would just leave me with a cleaner back. It's not so much about weight, it's just less clutter. Go ahead and put these. I'm not going to overly Loctite them because they already come with it on, and I may take this off in a couple of days, so just going to see what it feels like today. Again, my advice to fitting optics is do use Loctite. Make sure you've got the right screws. The amount of times that screw will work. A couple of mags on the range and this whole thing starts to wobble, which is super annoying, especially if you've zeroed it and it's good to go. So again, just considerations. Again, this isn't too fiddly. Some of these optics, when you go to mount them, is like you can't actually get the wrench in there because something's in the way and you've got to do it like a quarter turn at a time. This one doesn't seem to have that issue. Takes a regular AAA battery, Foxtrot 2. I have fitted it. It does go on there nicely. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, it's only a little thing, but it does kick out enough light. Like the first thing that I would put on this gun, if it was mine, would be a light. You know, if you're in a car park somewhere or you get a bump in the night, whatever it might be, like you need to illuminate the situation and see exactly what the threat is.
Yeah. Can you just leave that on?
I can do, mate, yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what the throw is, but you can see this. I mean, there's some ambient light in here, but it would definitely give me enough light to see what's in your hands, whether you're carrying a firearm or not, or whether you're a perceived threat or not. I should be able to acquire that with that. I'm not going to put the light on it because I don't have the right holster for it. So again, that's another consideration for everybody to think about is you can buy all the kit in the world, but if you can't conceal it or you can't retain the weapon, then you've got a problem. And that has been the bane of my life for a long time. And what I might do, once I've fired a few rounds with it, is stick the torch on, cinch it down, fire a few more rounds, and then see if there's any movement. I generally like to do that anyway, make sure there's no rattles, make sure my optics are secure, make sure that nothing's getting in the way and I've fitted it all correctly. This stuff isn't rocket science, but it is super easy to get it wrong or to use the wrong screw or, you know, not quite line up a bit of Picatinny with a retaining bar or whatever it might be. So all the little bits and pieces. Yeah, looking forward to getting on the range and giving it some attention.
Well, dude, welcome to GBRS.
There we go.
One of the many things we do here is we get to test out all different types of guns, and Sauer always sends us some really cool stuff. So I fell in love with the X Macro. Cole went out there and test shot that thing. I fell in love, I carried that thing, and they just sent these. So p365 AXG Legion.
Yeah.
Anything with Legion, I already fall in love with. That's my favorite out of the box pistol.
I'm learning that pretty quickly too.
And you got some rounds to the X Macro, yeah?
Yes.
So I haven't shot these things before, but just the feel, I feel a little more connected to it. It's some subtle little differences. I think the aluminum frame, G10 scales, this magwell, a little bit weighted, and I feel like I get enough pressure on my grip that it forces me up high on the beaver tail. Like the pick rail. Love the comp. I know we talked about it earlier about trying to remove the backup sights. What do you think about that?
I like it. I think the buttons are quite fiddly. They're super small, but I do like the fact that you've got an option for the reticle. I think the circle and the dot is 6 MOA.
Yep.
So it's a nice big one.
So we have a dot, just a circle, then a circle dot combo.
3 options.
Cycle them all the way through.
Just the dot is 2 MOA. The circle, or the circle and the dot, either variant, 6 MOA.
One of the things I always look for is how my hand naturally fits in it.
Yeah.
When I drop it in high on the beaver tail and I collapse my grip all the way, where's that pinky go? Because anytime it starts to search for a place, you know, does it limit my performance? I'm not really sure, but it messes with my confidence and my connection to the pistol. And I feel like this is about the perfect size I want to go to for my hand size.
It feels like it should shoot pretty well.
It feels slim, but it doesn't feel small.
It doesn't feel
You know what I
skinny.
mean? Exactly.
It feels slim, but it doesn't feel
Because
skinny.
a lot of them feel skinny.
Yeah, they
But
do.
That one feels great.
Also, what I like about it is I can get a full grip on it. I kind of would like to experiment, see if we can get a gas pedal for it or something for it, just as a reference point. It's not so much I'm concerned about shooting the end of my hand off, but it's just nice on a small gun to be able to get that extra leverage or that extra purchase on it. For
Go
me,
flash
just getting
on
that
something.
good grip on it
Yeah.
would be a beneficial thing. But again, we'll see how it fires. But I've got high hopes for it. I think it's going to be good. Well,
Not bad, dude.
that's not too bad at all. The trigger's nice. Doesn't.
Bro, it shoots flat, man, for how small it is. Like, I don't know, dude. The smaller the gun get, I feel like Men in Black, like Noisy Cricket, I feel like I'm gonna break it. I don't feel like I'm gonna break it.
No.
And it doesn't feel small when you shoot it. It shoots flat.
It feels solid in the hand and it isn't too snappy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by snappy?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the little ones are a bit snappy. Trigger's nice on it.
It is.
Trigger is nice. Good clean break.
I'm gonna grab a box of ammo.
Nice bit of slack.
Nothing else, this thing.
Not too much. Texture's good. Is that straight out the box, no zero required.
So
Both of them.
every time I talk to Sig, because I say the same thing. When I used to pull them out, we used to try to bore sight them and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, brother, when you mount these pistol dots, mount them correctly, level them, go out and shoot them. Like, don't make an adjustment. A lot of people, they try to. I haven't had to do my last 4 or 5. I put them out of the box.
Yeah.
No tweak.
Yeah.
Like,
That's from SIG, right?
yeah. Dude, they're good, man.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go ahead and change the reticle pattern on this.
Uh-oh.
So I've gone for the dot
It is
and
nice
the
you can just swap through it.
the dot and the circle. Let's try that. It's a 1625 battery in that, so it's the one that you don't have normally in your kit.
Yeah, man, out of all the small guns, the compacts, subcompacts we shoot,
Yep.
I've definitely liked 365 XL, X Macro, 365 AXG Legion.
It looks nice as well, doesn't it?
It does. It's got a good look to it, man.
It does.
Looking good's half the battle, man.
90%.
I just like torture testing these things sometimes. No slide lock.
So I'll go ahead and put this SIG Foxtrot 2 light on it. I quite like it initially. Early thoughts are, yeah, it looks robust, it looks rugged enough. Doesn't look like these are going to fall off. That's my pet hate. X300s, they've all fallen off. I've had the extended ones, I've had all kinds of ones on there, and not intrusive on the trigger guard. Even with gloves on or big fat thick fingers, I could still get in there and manipulate the trigger. In terms of the functionality, down, press and hold is momentary. Problem with that is if I want that, then I've got to take my left thumb off the slide, which means I'm losing grip, and on a small pistol, every bit matters, right? So not a massive fan of that. To get it on and hold is a press up, so I'm just gonna have to train myself to, as I'm drawing, press it up, hold it on, and then it's good to go. But I mean, we'll see in a minute when we turn the lights off. The throw of the light doesn't seem to be too bad. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can work out what's going on in your hands, whether you're a threat or not. Light's good.
Yeah.
The red dot's nice and clear through the light as well.
Yep.
And even the silhouette of the window isn't too intrusive. See, if you go on to momentary and press down with it, where it leaves your support hand thumb, that does get in the way of the trigger. That does get in the way of the press. And also, you can tell, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and shoot now, just waiting for that gun to return. It's taken a lot longer because it doesn't feel like I've got control over the grip. Now, if I stick it on continuous, you've got a magazine there?
Yep.
If I stick it on continuous, I feel like I can get proper purchase on the gun. That's the better option. So again, it'd just be a small training scar of I'm making sure that I'm pressing it and leaving it on, holding it down and shooting it. The size of the gun, I'm not getting a good grip on it. I'm not getting good purchase. I'm having to fight in order to return the sight to where I need it to be. And it doesn't feel like I'm connected to it because I'm holding that down, and that's not where my thumb needs to be. Yep. So it's good in a pinch. I think it would help, be useful in a pinch, but for me, once that light's on, one press up, light's on, and I can concentrate on my dot, concentrate on my grip, concentrate on my recoil management. But that is a nice little system. Good little gun. The throw on the light, what is it, a Foxtrot 2?
Yeah.
Decent.
Pretty good, right?
I'd run that.
Yeah.
I'd trust that to save my life in a pinch all day long.
It is nice to be able to talk about the mechanics. Are you a flip up guy? Are you a downward pressure hold? I'm the same way. Like I want that thing on, leave it on, because I hate compromising my thumb position.
No.
So if I can drop it in place and I reestablish that positive grip, for me, that's what I do. That's what works for me.
Yep.
But it is funny to hear somebody else talk about it too. All right, dude. I don't know how many mags we've been through. 20 or so. Initial impressions. Pistol only. Thoughts?
I like it. I like it for a few reasons. I like the grip angle on it. I like the way it feels in the hand. It feels solid, shoots well. It's a small gun. There's always going to be a bit of a compromise in sort of how much skin you can get on it and the ergonomics of it, the fire controls on it, but I think they've done a really nice job on it.
Any major cons in the pistol only?
No, I think the only thing to be aware of is just depending on what magazines you're running. Obviously this comes with 3 in the box, so that's a good idea. But for any weapon system, if you are using a magwell, is making sure that you've got the magazines that accommodate that, because I've seen it a million times. If you've got a magwell and you haven't got an extended mag, they don't seat properly, and that's definitely more likely to happen when this type of weapon system that you've got concealed, banging it, getting in and out of vehicles. Like if you've got extended mag releases, that type of stuff, it's a nightmare waiting to happen. So making sure that you've got the right magazines if you are using a magwell. I like the fact it comes from stock with one. I think they've done a good job on it. It's a good gun.
Let's look for the optic.
I like the optic.
Romeo X, 3 different options: dot, circle, dot, and circle combo.
Yep.
All red.
You got a big 6 MOA dot circle option. Shot that, enjoyed it, liked it.
Same.
The small dot's good. It's nice and bright, even in low light conditions. It's quite easy to acquire.
I do like the built-in fiber or the night sights in the back.
I do.
I'd take a sight push and just remove these.
I would as well. I'd take that second, or that initial one off. You've still got those night sights. That lines up with the front sight. You can still acquire it if needs be. Like, if you're in an emergency and you're getting your EDC gun out and your red dot's gone down and you're onto irons, you're having a bad day, aren't you? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's almost like it's backup for backup, but I like it. I think
I actually like this better than they have a smaller one, the Romeo Zero. I like this one better. Thoughts on a comp?
I'd like to shoot one without a comp to really feel the benefit. But I mean, I thought that was going to be way more snappy than it was.
Yeah.
I thought recoil management was going to be not a problem, but something.
When we first got introduced, that we had a table full of no comp, and
Yep.
then that noticeable, dude.
Really?
But even one-handed,
Yep.
yeah, you can feel it. Torch.
So, brightness is good. It fits well. I like the size of it. The pressure pad, not a massive fan of momentary being on the downward. I'd prefer it on the upward. Again, that's just shooter's choice on that. I think it's easier for me to acquire. Whilst it's not a negative, but it's a consideration. And if you ask the man next to me, he'll probably say the opposite. Everyone's got their own opinion on it, right? But for me personally, if I'm going to white light and I've made the conscious decision, I want it on and I want it staying on, because it allows me to then not concentrate on that, and I can think about PID, I can think about all the other bits and pieces that I need. That there is a good little setup. Just need to find the holster that fits that. That's the biggest problem, obviously. But apart from that, the torch, the optic and the gun, well thought out, well designed, enjoyable to shoot. I don't know if it's reliable. I'm sure it is, and I can't say that because I haven't used it for years and fired hundreds of thousands of rounds, right? But I'm sure it is.
I'm in the same boat with you with the flashlight. I wish it was down, but we talk about building your grip and being able to accommodate it. So as I go to collapse it, rolling my thumb over, that's how we initiate the light. That way you don't have to compromise your grip. But you have to get on a flat range. You got to sit there and do dry presentations, figure out your own little system. But
exactly that, mate.
For overall, it's a really nice gun to shoot. It fits the hand right. It's got enough mag well, just enough to apply pressure. High on the beaver tail. I don't feel like I'm choking it off. I feel like the grip's not too much where it rubs on my body. It's going to drive me insane. I feel like the comp helps. At the end of the day, it looks tough.
Oh yeah, it looks
color's cool. Yeah,
good color. It doesn't feel like a small gun.
It doesn't.
It feels like a small big gun.
It does.
Do you know what I mean? It feels like a small full-size gun.
Yeah,
as opposed
it feels
to
like you just chopped it.
You've just got all the bits that you don't necessarily need.
But it's a thin profile.
Yeah, it's not thick. It's not big.
Too thick. Yeah, I think it's great, man. 365 AXG Legion. Dude, thank you.
Good bit of kit. No, thank you.
No. I fucking love this thing. I love that thing.
They're fun, aren't they?
Dude, that thing's fucking cool.